Hola Buenas! Today we are going on an adventure to a place very close to my heart. During my time studying physics at university, I was studying at the University of Kent in Canterbury. The plan was to check out the university today and then go into the city and have a look around. We will then be traveling to the coast, to Broadstairs, to see a traditional English beach and to try a fish and chips. Today is going to be a rather nostalgic day for me. So without any further ado, let's get started. Empecemos. I have too many stories to tell you from this place alone. Venue was the club on campus. We would sometimes venture out to clubs in the city centre, but my personal favourite was this nightclub. It was also really convenient to get to when you lived on campus. And here we have Keynes College. It's actually pronounced Keynes, but we all called it Keynes. This is where I used to live. Specifically, I was in Q Block, and if my memories serve me well, this is my window right here. If there's anyone watching from Q7 room G, that used to be my room 13 years ago. Unfortunately, my favorite bar was closed, but I spent a crazy amount of time here. I used to even come here to study. When the rest of the students would go to the library, this was a better environment for me. I remember the big nights out at Massive Mungo's. They would open the hall up to a giant dance floor and you could buy drinks around the perimeter of the hall. It then used to lead into the main corridor and through to the main bar of Mungo's. They had just about finished with the expansion of the library in my final few years here. It still looks very impressive, especially compared to how it was before. Here is Tyler Court. I actually lived here for my final year at the University of Kent. By that time, I was well and truly ready to move on with my life. Upon reflection, I probably should have embraced that last year a bit more. Instead, I was trying to save money as much as possible and worrying about my future. But as you can see, things worked out in the end. Block C was where I was living. I can't remember these halls as well for some reason. I suppose by this point, it wasn't new to me. As we were leaving the campus, you can see the cathedral way in the distance. Thankfully, my sister was driving, so we didn't have to walk into the city centre. Here you can see the west gate of Canterbury. There was a bar here called The Pound. It was incredibly expensive, especially for students, but the atmosphere was really nice and was a bit more of a sophisticated nightclub than the usual ones we would go to. In my last years at university, I preferred to come here. They also had these booths that you could sit in, and as the name implies, The Pound, the booths were actually old jail cells, giving it a really interesting atmosphere. I love how Canterbury feels like stepping back in time with cobbled streets, beautiful housing, and old country pubs, even within a city environment. We had a walk around the city and then went for a quick drink in the 3 Tons, a traditional English pub I spent a lot of time in. Also, when I went to the toilet, I saw this on the wall and it made me laugh. If you ever have the opportunity of visiting Canterbury, I would highly recommend that you visit the Canterbury Tales interactive experience by Geoffrey Chaucer. It tells you about the classic tales and brings them to life through animated clay figures and audio narration. I did it a while back and we were in a rush to fit everything in for this day, but I thought I'd mention it as we were walking past. I must admit, there is one thing I absolutely hate about Canterbury. It's the daylight robbery of charging people 17 quid to go and look at the cathedral. I think the pricing is totally unreasonable. As a student, you get in for free. They should at least drop it to a tenner. I don't know. Anyway, it's still an absolutely beautiful building, and this is actually where I finally graduated with my physics undergraduate degree. This is the best view we are going to see of the cathedral, and it seems they're still doing restoration work, which is wild to think because they were still doing restoration work when I was there. And this house has significant importance in reference to Charles Dickens' fictional novel called David Copperfield. It is said that Dickens was referring to this particular building in his novel. With its unique architectural features, such as leaning over the road, it has drawn comparison to vivid imagery Dickens used in describing the fictional house in the novel. The quote on the building reads, "A very old house bulging out over the road, leaning forward, trying to see who was passing on the narrow pavement below." We are now leaving Canterbury and we're going to the coast. It's been a very nice day though, very good weather. We are parked along this road because it's actually free parking. So if you're coming here, you can actually park just on this road. As you can see, there aren't too many people on the beach today. It was rather windy and still not quite hot enough. That doesn't stop a few people from enjoying the beach, however. It is incredibly windy here, and one thing you'll notice compared to Spain is that even though we're at the coast, it's no warmer, it's just windy. But it's still very beautiful here. I really like Broadstairs, it's just a very nice place to be, you know? I got a cod and chips with a curry sauce on the side. Just a heads up, if you're going to England and visiting London, don't buy a fish and chips. Not only is it more expensive, but usually the quality is nowhere near as good as on the coast. If you want a recommendation for London, get yourself a steak and ale pie. Much more fitting than a fish and chips. If there is anyone watching who used to study at University of Kent and felt nostalgic watching this today, please let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you have had the pleasure of visiting Broadstairs, especially on a summer's day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.